Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be going over what we learn in chiropractic school. Two disclaimers. This is what we learn at Life University. I know it can vary a little bit from university to university. And then second, this is what we learn. This is not, I'm not going to sit here and explain if I think this is what we should or we shouldn't learn or all the things with school. That can be a separate video, but I just want to give you a basic overview of all of the classes we learn, what they mean, and that's about it. Let's get started. Starting with first quarter. First class, Embryology. This is the study of how we get from the sperm, the egg, into a baby. It's actually pretty crazy and can get really complicated. Second, Osteology. So osteology meaning bone, study of bones. So you're going to learn every single part of every bone in your body, the attachment points, all the little tiny tubercles and things on your bone. 3, Histology, study of tissues. So skin cells, everything that incorporates all your tissues, all the stuff around your organs. 4, Biochem. So these are just chemical processes in the body, how the body processes different things such as glucose, how we make energy, etc. Personal Development 1. So this is like your intro to chiropractic course. It kind of gets you fired up for chiropractic, has a little history, how you do well in school. Clinical experience. So you take a class that you have to go to student clinic and be a patient in student clinic, just so you get exposed to student clinic and what it's like. Healthcare terminology. So you learn all the basic roots, parts, everything in between to different words in the healthcare field, which actually comes into handy whenever you're trying to dissect what a diagnosis is. You can break apart the words and you'll be like, I know what this means, so you can figure it out. Intro into philosophy. Philosophy is a huge part of chiropractic. In some other schools don't teach philosophy, but it's what we're founded on, and it is humongous for our profession. Lifestyles. This is your first kind of, you have a second course by the same instructor that's a movement course, but you learn a lot of fun exercises and how to live a healthy lifestyle. Anatomy and Physiology. So this is one of your first anatomy courses, and you're learning just basic anatomy and phys. Quarter 2, Spinal Anatomy. So this is everything to do with the spines, the facets, which is their gliding angles. You literally learn every single little minute detail, which is way more than you could ever think. Muscle skeletal. So this is your second anatomy course, and you're learning all of the muscles in the body, their attachment, origin, insertion, innervation, all of that. Vasotherm. So you learn what happens when you scan the body with an instrument that reads different heat temperatures and some other different instruments, but you learn how those correlate into patterns along the spine. Spinal Biomechanics. This is super important because this is like the physics of what we do. So we perform an adjustment, and the biomechanics of what is behind it is different angles of the facets, and the facets are how the bones articulate with each other. So this is extremely important when finding your adjustment. And learning how the body biomechanically moves. Motion Palpation 1. So this class is your very first hands-on class where you are learning basic movements and tests on how to test different ranges of motion and joint play. Communication skills. So this is one of your first communication classes on how you talk to patients during histories, reviews, stuff like that. History of chiropractic. This is what it sounds like. You learn the foundations of where chiropractic came from. Cellular and neuromuscular physiology. So you are learning all of the physiology, how the muscles chemically work in the body and how that relates to the brain and how it all moves together as one. Third quarter, so visceral gross anatomy. These are all the organs, nerves, and everything that you didn't learn with muscle skeletal. Pal 2, so this is your second hands-on class where you are further diving into different tests to test how the joints are moving. Chiropractic principles. This is another philosophy course learning all of the philosophies and principles of chiropractic. Bacteriology and Virology. So you're learning about different bacteria and viruses in this class and how they affect your body. You also have a lab with this class where you get to look at bacteria under the microscope. Visceral Physiology. So you're learning everything about the organs and how they chemically work and how that correlates to your nervous system and everything else in your body. Basic nutrition. This is your first nutrition course where you're it says you're learning basic nutrition. Norm Rad 1, so Normal Radiology 1. This is your first radiology class. You're learning the basics of how an x-ray machine works, how the different settings on the x-ray machine, etc. Fourth quarter, so Intro to Research Methods. This is learning all about research papers, how to cite them, how to read them, how to do research, etc. Parasitology and Mycology. So this is learning about different parasites and funguses, everything that you didn't cover in bacteria and viruses, you cover in parasitology. X-ray physics. So this is further diving into the physics of how the x-ray machines work and how the light goes into your body and creates an x-ray. Normal Radiology 2. Sorry, that was hard to say. This class, you learn all of the different lines and angles that are on an x-ray. So this is like what a normal line would be and how to determine diagnoses based on those lines. Capstone 1, this is a weekend class. It's basically a personal development class. Physiology Lab. So this is where you get to apply everything you learned in visceral physiology in a lab setting. So you get to do different tests that have to do with blood pressure and all of that. Visceral Diagnosis. So this is where you get to learn about every single organ. This is a hands-on class. You get to pretty much palpate, meaning feel, auscultate, meaning hear with a stethoscope, and percuss, meaning tap, because you can find the different densities of the organs. So you get to perform different tests, physical tests, to make different diagnoses or further look into conditions based upon the organs. Head and neck gross anatomy. So this is where you dive further into the muscles, the nerves, and the bones of the head and neck. Toggle. So this is your first technique course. So toggle is just for the cervicals, and you get to learn this technique first. Fifth quarter, so immunology and disease pattern. This is learning all about your immune system, how all of your different immune cells work, and how they play a role in getting rid of viruses, bacteria, parasites, etc. Neuroanatomy, central nervous system. So this is learning all about your spinal cord and the nerves that come off of it and the pathways that go to the brain. Clinical recording. This is a class that you learn how to record and take histories for patients. Orthopedic Diagnosis. So you get to learn all of the orthopedic tests, meaning all the different joints in the body. You're going to be testing different functions of them. Pathology 1. So this is learning all of the diseases of the body. That's what pathology means. So you're just learning different diseases, which there's a lot. Endocrinology. So endocrine system is your hormone system. So you're learning all about your hormones and how they work in the body. Skeletal Radiology A. So this is a sequence to the 2 x-ray classes you've already taken. So now you're looking at how bones form and how the different diseases within bones. Full Spine 1. So this is your second technique class where you're starting to apply everything you've learned with biomechanics and using that to do a technique that's called full spine. Sixth quarter, so we have Practical Development 2. This is your second weekend class where again you're doing more personal work and how to communicate with patients. Neuroanatomy CNS, so that's peripheral, meaning everything that goes to the rest of your body that you didn't learn in the CNS, central nervous system. X-ray full spine analysis. So you're looking at actual x-rays and you're going to be measuring the different parts of the bones, getting angles, and from those you'll be able to take listings, which is how you figure out where you're adjusting on the spine. Clinical laboratory studies. This is where you learn how to take urinary samples and blood samples and how to analyze them. Neurological diagnosis. This is like your orthopedic class. It's in person where you're learning neurological tests and you're determining what could be wrong with the neurology of the body. Pathology 2, so this is your second pathology class, learning about all the different diseases of the skeletal radiology B. So again, you're learning more about bone diseases and how to find them on x-ray. Full spine 2, so this is your third technique course, second full spine course, where you're learning how to adjust. You're not actually performing the adjustment, but you're learning how to set up. 7th quarter, public and environmental health. So this is learning all about just different systems in public healthcare and also like how environmental systems work. I don't know. It's just student clinic orientation. So this is another one of your pre-clinic classes where you're learning how to use the system and how to put patient history into the computer. Nutrition and health. This is your second nutrition course where you go a little bit more in depth on the chemistry and different things in nutrition. Muscle gait and posture analysis. So this is doing a whole bunch of different muscle tests to see which muscles could possibly have an imbalance. It's pretty cool. Spinal x-ray positioning. So this is where you learn how to physically position people for x-rays because they have to be in different positions for different views. Wellness and movement. This is a really fun class to learn how to functionally move your body, doing different exercises, stretches based on different tests that can tell you different things about the body and the muscles. Skeletal. So this is another radiology class where you're still learning different diseases of the bones and how to see them on x-rays. Full spine 3, this is where you're going to make your first adjustment. So it is taking all that you learned in your other technique courses and finally applying them on each student. Rad report writing. So this is where you learn how to take what you got from the x-ray and write it up and send it off. Special senses, so you get to learn all about the eyes, the ears, and how to check people's visions and different things like that. So this is where I am at in the program. I'm halfway through, so I'm not going to try and explain all the rest of these classes because I haven't taken them, but I will explain a little bit more of the rest of the layout. So I will be going into student clinic next quarter, which is where you get to start adjusting actual students. And then you're in there for, I think it's 2 or 3 quarters. And then you go to what's called outpatient, where you start seeing the general public at one of our clinics on school. And then for the last 6 months, 2 quarters of the program, you do what's called peak, which is where you actually get to work at a doctor's office underneath a doctor. It's like a residency or apprenticeship. And so those are the rest of the years, or the rest of the year and a half of the program, what it looks like clinically. For the classes, I know we learn more techniques and a little bit more of how to diagnose and put everything, all the sciences together that we've learned into how that presents in our patient. But for now, I'm gonna leave the video at that, and maybe I'll come back and finish the rest of the video when I'm closer to the end of the program. But I hope you all get a better understanding of what we learn in chiropractic school. I'll be making a video soon about chiropractic school in general because it can be kind of frustrating, especially because I didn't know what we learn in chiropractic school before going into chiropractic school. So hopefully this can give you a little bit better idea. Thanks for tuning in. like always, like, comment, and subscribe. Feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or through YouTube. I love hearing from you guys, and I can't wait to continue this journey with you all. Bye, see you later.